You ever wonder why some apps feel just impossible to put down? Well, the secret isn't really about what you get from them, it's all about how you get it. We're going to break down this really powerful three-stage trick that tech giants use to hook our brains, and it all kicks off with a couple really strange mysteries. So first up is this. Apple, one of the biggest, most valuable companies on the entire planet, has a secret room, a dedicated space. But it's not for designing iPhones. Nope. It's just for perfecting the feeling of opening the box they come in. Seriously, what on earth could be so important about that one single moment? Okay, and here's mystery number 2. The trading app Robinhood just got slammed with a massive fine. We're talking $7.5 million from state regulators. Now, you'd think it was for some huge data breach or maybe financial misconduct, right? But no, it was for something that just sounds kinda silly. That's right, they were fined millions for an animation, just digital confetti that would pop up on your screen after you made a trade. So, a secret room for unboxing and a multi-million-dollar fine for confetti. These two things seem like they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But it turns out they are both using the exact same incredibly powerful psychological principle. And this is where we get into the science of it all. What Apple and Robinhood both totally mastered is a way to sneak past your rational brain and aim directly for your reward system. You could almost call it a neurological assault. And the framework they use, well, it's surprisingly simple. Let's just call it the gift versus the receipt. See, most apps deliver information like a receipt. Think of a bank statement. It's functional, it's just data, there's no emotion there. But a gift, on the other hand, turns that exact same information into an event, into a ceremony. And to understand why that works so well, we have to talk about a really important chemical in our brains. And that chemical is dopamine. Now, I know what you're thinking. Most of us have heard of dopamine as the pleasure chemical, but it turns out neuroscientists discovered it's actually the anticipation chemical. It doesn't spike when we get something good, it spikes when we think we're about to get something good. It literally feeds on uncertainty. So, if you just hand someone a result, you've completely bypassed the whole system. And that's why this gift approach is so powerful. It follows a 3-stage sequence that's designed specifically to play with that dopamine system. First, you build up the anticipation. Then you create this big, dramatic reveal. And finally, you let the user just kind of bask in the afterglow. So let's break down each of these stages. So, stage 1 is all about anticipation. This is designed to be that lean-forward moment. And Apple's engineers, well, they've perfected this. They've actually tuned the iPhone box so the lid takes about 2 to 4 seconds to slide off, all controlled by air resistance. You feel the weight, you hear that soft whoosh, it's a whole sensory experience. And get this shows you how powerful it is. People actually collect and resell empty Apple boxes. The anticipation is so well designed, the package itself becomes valuable. But, anticipation is just the setup. The reveal itself has to land with some real weight. And this brings us right back to Robinhood, and maybe the most convincing proof you will ever see that this is not just some cute decoration. Okay, so when you made a trade on Robinhood, your screen would just explode with confetti. And if you got a free stock, you'd have to scratch it off like a lottery ticket. The regulators argued that this whole ceremonial reveal was so effective at hitting the brain's reward button that it was actually nudging people toward making frequent, impulsive trades. It basically turned investing into a video game. And they weren't just guessing about this. I mean, the final legal order specifically, word for word, banned celebratory imagery tied to trading frequency. Just think about that for a second. This little design element was so powerful at changing behavior that an actual law had to be written just to stop it. And this is the key to the whole thing. The ceremony itself changes how your brain actually processes the outcome. A $5 gain delivered like a bank statement is just information. But that same $5, delivered with a big explosion of confetti, well, your brain perceives that as a much, much bigger win, and that makes you want to do it again immediately. All right, on to the third and final stage. This is the one that a lot of apps get wrong, but it's where those really long-term habits are forged. This is the afterglow. It's the part that turns a fleeting moment into something that feels permanent, something that feels personal to you. And the absolute masterclass in this is Spotify Wrapped. I mean, the anticipation builds for an entire year. The reveal isn't just a list of data, it's an animated personal story. But the afterglow, that's the genius part. It gives you these cool, shareable cards that turn your listening data into a statement about who you are. Suddenly, your music taste is part of your public identity. And the results of doing this right are just staggering. I mean, look at the engagement for apps that have mastered this stuff. Tinder turns a simple match into this big celebratory explosion. That's the afterglow. And it gets an average of 11 opens a day. Snapchat, with its streaks, gets over 30 opens a day from its users. It's wild. And this is exactly why Snapchat streaks feel so important to people. That afterglow stage, it presents the streak not just as a number, but as an asset. It's an investment that you've built up over time. And because of that, breaking a streak doesn't feel like you just missed a day. It feels like you lost something you owned. So let's just put it all together. This whole three-stage process, anticipation, reveal, and afterglow, it's not an accident. It's a very deliberate design strategy. And its ultimate purpose is to take something as totally impersonal as your user data and repackage it as a core part of your personal identity. And of course, once your identity is all tied up in the app, you keep coming back, right? You got to protect your streak, you got to share your music taste, you have to open the next box. This framework effectively turns your own willpower into a slot machine, where the house always wins your attention. So, what we're looking at, these aren't just fun animations. They are carefully engineered neurological triggers. Now that you can see the mechanism, behind the curtain, the real question is, does knowing the trick actually make you immune to it?